Hello, hello, hello. It is Cassandra Terry, your manifesting miracle maker, and I'm running about 15 minutes late, but welcome to Thankful Thursday. And as you guys know, Thursdays are all about being thankful, they are about gratitude. I forgot my music. Well, let's put a little music in the background. How about that? I need a little music, and that's what I'm talk about today. Let's see. Can I hear it? Oh, it's too low. There we go. All right. So I added a little music. Ooh, now it's loud. Let me fix it. I don't want it to be too loud. But the reason that I said I could use it is today has just been one of those days. The last 24 hours or so, I have been faced with more frustration than I have had in a while, and busy. I am super busy between my job and the business that I'm building and responsibilities as with my family. I am exhausted and I've been a little frustrated. And last night I got really frustrated. So I have had the opportunity to practice what I preach. I am always talking about being intentional. Hi, Ruhi, from all the way from India. I don't know if I've ever been international before, but we are officially international because Ruhi is joining us from India. Hello, Melinda. Thanks for joining. Today's kind of a confessional, guys. Today is a little bit different. It is still Thankful Thursday, but I am not talking about gratitude and its properties and how it can help us from conceptually. I'm talking about how it's helping me right now. The last couple days and especially the last 24 hours have been a little rough emotionally. There's been a lot going on at work, a lot going on at home, a lot going on trying to get this career going. And I have just not been my normal happy go lucky, find the gift in everything self. I've just been kind of, and I keep hearing in my head, lady, Cassandra, manifesting miracle maker, whatever you want to call yourself. You literally talk to people about this all the time, shifting your mood, connecting to your inner voice, hearing what you're saying and reframing it if it doesn't serve you. So I have had to practice what I preach. And it's easier said than done. I've always known that because everything that I say, the things that I talk about are coming from life experience, and they are things that I've had to deal with or overcome in some way or another. And that's how this whole M3 program was created, kind of me managing my own life, getting through the obstacles that I've faced, and looking back at how it's all come into being and building a program around it that would make sense to other people. Hello, Ryan, welcome. And so today has just been one of those days. It's like, put your money where your mouth is, practice what you preach. Because there's a part of me that over the last 24 hours, it has just wanted to be in a bad mood, that has just wanted to be a little petty and nitpicky and just not feeling my normal grass is greener type self. And so I really had to stop and go, what is going on? And it was funny. I was talking to my cousin today and a sister of mine, and my cousin was laughing and he was like, you know what? You're right on schedule. And I was like, what do you mean by that? He was like, this time of the year, your mood's always kind of off. And he kind of took me back and we looked at it and I was like, you're right. This is kind of the time of year where I'm usually a little bit more moody, not as bright and bubbly. So maybe it's just the cycle that my body goes through. And then I realized, but it usually starts in December, sometime around Christmas, all the way through the beginning of March. I would be so depressed, guys. I'm talking, didn't want to get out of bed, shower, eat, engage in life any at all. I just didn't have the fortitude to get going. And sometimes if I did, it was just enough to do exactly what it was I had to do. So if I had to work, and a lot of times that was remote, I could pick myself up enough to meet my requirements. And then as soon as I did that, I was right back in bed, just not wanting to deal with life in general. I spent some time in therapy and did some peeling back to find out some things that had happened to me during that time frame, and I had like this emotional memory that would pull me down. That particular time frame was when I lost my grandmother, and my sister Kim is on the is watching, and that was for me, and I think for her too, the hardest loss we've had to deal with in life, because that was our core, that was who we lived with, who took care of us, and she was never not there. We weren't like kids who ever had to come home to an empty house because the parents were working and that kind of thing. My grandmother didn't work. She was home. So we came home to someone every single day. And my senior year, she was gone. And I had big plans for her. I knew that she was really sick and that she wouldn't make it to my graduation. But my intention was to have my principal come to her bedside and present me with my diploma there so that she could still be a part of it, because I felt like if any that she deserved more than anybody to see me graduate and to see that her putting her later years on hold to raise kids and to pour into me and my sister the way she did, that she would see the fruits of that. And it didn't happen that way. She died in January. I graduated in May. And then I came to college, and I started off. So I know you guys are familiar with BC and AD, before Christ, and all that. That's the way my life went. I have a life that was before my grandmother died, and then I have a different life that was post her death. Because when I came to Austin to go to college, there was nobody here who knew anything about her. They didn't know she ever existed. I didn't know any of these people. I met an entirely new group of people. And so I had back home where family and friends were, but also where a lot of grief was. And then I had this new life where I could just become whoever I wanted to be. I could write the story however I wanted it to look, and nobody was the wiser about what was going on underneath. So I lived this life that was so empty because I didn't deal with the grief. I didn't mourn her death until I was about 30 years old. And she died right before I turned 18. So I know what it's like to live with deep, dark sadness and depression, but finding a therapist who helped me tie it to an event, and to understand that it wasn't so much that there was something wrong with me, that there was something going on inside my head, even not necessarily a chemical imbalance. And that's a real thing. For some people, that's what's going on, and you need that kind of help. But for me, it was the realization of that I was re-mourning her every year around the time that she really got critical and eventually passed away. And I didn't start to wake up again until spring. And I used to say it all the time. I don't know, I just have to get through these months, because when March comes around, that's my real new year. That's when good things start to happen for me. That's when I feel like a person again. So even though my cousin said to me, "You're right on schedule," you're always kind of in a bad mood this time of the year. It's mid-February, and it used to happen in December. So that in and of itself is progress. The time frame has lessened. And instead of it being, I haven't been in bed sad all day. I've been connecting to family and friends. I've been working. I've been doing what I needed to do. And it wasn't I had to push to do it, because I'm different than I was back then. I'm armed with knowledge that I didn't have before. And I had told my cousin, I don't know if I'm going to go live today, because I'm so off that I don't know if I really have anything of value to share. So I probably won't even do it today. And we kept talking and we kept talking. And I told him a story about a bank account that I found that had a significant amount of money in it that I didn't even realize that I had. Completely forgot about it. And that's so weird that I'm in a position that I can have money that I don't even know I have, that I have money that I don't necessarily need today to live my life. I grew up on government assistance. And I'm thinking we waited for the check to come every month, and my grandmother would pay the bills, or she would have me and my sister pay the bills, and we would get groceries for the month. And then whatever was left, Hopefully it lasted more than the month did, but sometimes it didn't. And she made do, and we managed, but it wasn't the easiest thing when it came to that part of life. I was like, we were on government assistance. I remember food stamps, I remember commodities, and food stamps wasn't a cute little card that you can swipe now and it kind of looks like, other cards. It was a paper booklet with with money, paper money, fake money in it, in different denominations. And so you paid with something that was completely different. You stood out. You looked like you didn't have, money. It was obvious that you were on government assistance. And when you got your change, it was there was a point in time where they gave us plastic coins back. They were different colors and different sizes, just like, a quarter, penny, nickel, dime, they're different sizes. They had something similar to that. So it was really obvious who the people were who didn't have versus the people who appeared to have. And growing up as a kid, you don't think so much about that stuff. And I don't remember as a little person having, shame and things like that too much. You remember that type of money? I remember it vividly, and it was okay because we just did, that was our life, so we did what we had to do. But to fast forward, I left that town, my hometown, when I was 17, or 18. I had just turned 18, and I came to college, struggled financially in college. I had scholarships, a good amount of scholarship, but it didn't cover everything. And all my parents knew, because they didn't go and hadn't had the experience of sending a child off to college. All they knew was I got this big scholarship. So they didn't think I would really have any financial issues or any financial needs. And I did. But I left in a different city with my own bills stuff to deal with and try to manage. They still had the rest of my other five siblings at home that had to be taken care of. So I had to figure life out. I had to make a community. I had to learn how to manage money. I had to learn how to pay bills, write checks, not bounce too many, which I did plenty of. I got my first credit card, y'all. An American Express card came in the mail with my name on it. Didn't apply for it, nothing. It came in the mail, and it was like Christmas because I could go into any store and get whatever I wanted, and all I had to do was sign my name and they would give it to me. That's all I knew about credit. I didn't think about the fact that in 30 days or less, depending on how many days are in the month, American Express wanted all the money. It wasn't even, I had to worry about payments and interest. They wanted it all. And so you can imagine, after the first month, I was already in trouble. Couldn't pay the bill. I had decorated the bathroom real cute in my apartment. I remember some really pretty boots I bought, just poverty mentality because I didn't know any better. And so I ran up a bill that I couldn't pay. And then I had a good amount of time to learn about bill collectors and debt collection and credit scores and what all that would do to you, and had to work my way out of all of that. So college was a real learning experience for me, way beyond books, because I had to learn what it was like to live as an adult and what it was like to manage all those things. And you fast forward to a senior in high school leaving an environment that was on government assistance, to a college student who ran up a credit card debt that she couldn't pay, to now a corporate executive who owns not just one. We own the house that we live in, but we also have like three or four other properties. I have my business. My husband has his real estate business. We both have our careers. Our children are very successful and have their own homes and are doing great. My grandchildren are blessed beyond words because my kids don't even quite understand. They've heard some of the stories, but they don't understand what it's like to possibly not have enough food. They have no clue what it's like for your utilities to be cut off because the bills can't be paid, that kind of stuff. Not a clue. They've never experienced anything like that. When my first daughter graduated from college, she got a brand new car. I remember trying to get the dealership to not, I didn't want to drive the car. I wanted her to get the car with no mileage on it. I mean, to go from that being your concern versus being concerned about food. How could I not be grateful? How could I not get on today? And if nothing else, say gratitude can really improve your outlook on life. And when you are having a difficult time, it can shorten it for you. It can help you kind of get up and get going again. Because I was talking to my cousin and my sister, and we started talking about that. I was like, I found this account with this money in it that I didn't even remember about. I was on government assistance, and where every penny was so important, every penny counted. And for in such a short time to see how my life has been blessed and what has God has done for me, and to see that my children's life started at such a better place than what mine did, and my grandchildren, I'm a grandma now. Kim and I are both grandmas. And for my grandchildren to know even less of that type of struggle than what my kids, because it's even farther removed from their story. Blessings on blessings on blessings. How can I not get on Thankful Thursday and say life is wonderful if we look for the wonder in it? If we remember, even when we're having a difficult time, if we just really stop and think, I'm not where I was before. The things that I struggled with before, I've overcome, which means that I can overcome these things. And that gratitude just started to lift. I almost cried. I was so overwhelmed in the moment thinking about 17-year-old Cassandra versus I'll be 55 in April, and how life has unfolded. I couldn't help but to be grateful. And when you're grateful, when you're really grateful, it lifts the burden. It gives you, even if it's just temporary, it gives you some moments of peace that you may not have had before. And that's what I'm doing now, is I'm just taking in the moments of peace. I still may be a little off, may not be as cheery as I was, but I'm also not as down in the dumps as I was yesterday or last night and this morning. It's like, man, I have so much to be grateful for. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for the life that has been afforded to me, and for the life that my children have and my grandchildren have, and so many people that are around me, that it changes the perspective, and it makes even the dark times, you see the light shining through. The light may not have completely permeated the room and filled it with light, but even if you just see the light coming under the door, if you just can see then you know the light is there. You know that better is coming. You know that things are going to be okay. And so on this Thankful Thursday, I thank you guys for indulging, because really today was just kind of a day of testimony and being grateful and thankful myself, because every once in a while you need to just stop and look at your journey and realize how far you've come. You may not be where you want to be, but you're not where you were either. You've made progress, and that progress deserves to be celebrated. You deserve to be celebrated for making the progress. And sometimes we want to wait until we get to the end to celebrate. No, celebrate your milestones along the way. Rejoice in the fact that you've made progress and you're not where you were before. Even if you're not quite where you'd like to be, you're neither or you where you were. You have made progress. So celebrate that. So I want to thank you guys for joining. If you see this later, hashtag replay, feel free to leave a link. And I want to say I apologize, but I don't. I'm not sorry. Sometimes you just have to stop and be grateful. And if you guys were gracious enough to listen to my gratitude today, I appreciate you. Feel free to leave comments, and I'll come back and respond to them when I get off work. Hey, Karen, y'all, that's my most beautiful aunt, Karen Cheatham. Thank you for joining. So yeah, you guys, I've mentioned before that even though you see me, some of you see me on YouTube, some of you see me on Facebook, and some of you may see me on LinkedIn, and all at the same time, because I'm actually on a different app that allows me to show up on all those places. So unless you leave a comment or a thumbs up or something, I don't really know that you're here. So thank you for joining, Karen, Kim, Melinda, Ryan. I saw Ruhi earlier. I'm not sure if she's still here, but thank you guys so much. I appreciate you joining in. Tomorrow is Focus Friday, and we will likely get back to our regularly scheduled programming, and it'll be more like what you guys are accustomed to hearing from me. We'll talk about focus and how we can use that to reach our goals. So that's it for this Thankful Thursday. I appreciate you guys joining in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.